Welcome to the video. Today we dive into the sweeping change in U.S. non-immigrant visa screening that shifts scrutiny to your public social media. To begin, I will outline what changed, who is impacted, how the screening works, and what you can do to prepare without risking your application. Stay with me as we connect each section with actionable strategies and clear examples. First, to set the stage, a recent expansion of U.S. non-immigrant visa vetting requires applicants in categories like H-1B, H-4, F, M, and J to make all social media profiles public. The stated rationale is that every visa adjudication is a national security decision. Therefore, officers may use all available online information to assess inadmissibility, safety risk, or credibility. This turns once private posts into official application material and moves the burden of disclosure onto the applicant's digital life. Next, here is our roadmap for the session. We will start with the scope and rationale of the new rule, then identify exactly who must comply and when. After that, we will clarify how automated screening works and follow with a concrete action plan. We will also cover common risk traps and misinterpretations, test your knowledge with short quizzes, and conclude with key takeaways and next steps. Before we proceed, a brief but crucial disclaimer. This content is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Immigration policies evolve, and individual facts matter. For guidance tailored to your situation, consult a qualified immigration attorney. Now, with that understood, let's continue. Moving on, here is how the rule functions in practice. The government frames every visa decision as a national security determination, so your digital footprint becomes part of the evidentiary record. Practically, you must set your profiles to public prior to submission. Automated tools then scan your posts, interactions, and networks for patterns or signals. Finally, human adjudicators review any flags to evaluate admissibility and credibility. In short, an automated screening precedes a human check. Now let's map the process across time. About 30 days before applying, begin a full digital audit. 3 weeks out, archive or delete potentially risky posts. 2 weeks out, align your bio, work or study history, and locations with your application materials. 10 days out, curate professional highlights. 1 week out, set all profiles to public. 3 days out, perform a final consistency check with your application forms. On the application day, submit. During the waiting period, monitor your messages and avoid posting controversial content until a decision is made. This sequence reduces last-minute mistakes and mismatches. Meanwhile, the policy explicitly targets high-volume categories: H-1B workers and their H-4 dependents, F and M students, and J exchange visitors. These groups should assume their social media will be reviewed. Additionally, be aware that practices can evolve. Even applicants outside these categories may encounter similar expectations over time as screening tools and guidelines expand. Next, let's look platform by platform. For X, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and regional equivalents, you should set profiles public and review posts, comments, follows, likes, and groups. High-risk areas include political rants, sarcasm that can be misread, heated debates, gestures and photos that might be misinterpreted, and any experience, dates that conflict with what you report on visa forms. Ensure consistency across professional platforms like LinkedIn, and do not neglect comments on videos or group memberships. Now let's weigh the trade-offs. On the security side, authorities argue that broader data helps detect threats and supports credibility checks. On the privacy side, applicants must expose years of personal content, often stripped of context. Automated tools can misinterpret satire, cultural references, or frustration, creating false positives. These errors can lead to delays or denials, even when intent is benign. Understanding this balance helps you reduce unnecessary risks while complying. Then, to understand the mechanics, imagine a pipeline where the applicant sets profiles to public and social platforms expose content. An automated scanner crawls this material, extracting posts, follows, and metadata. A risk model scores for security concerns, credibility, and inconsistencies. If no flags appear, the case can move smoothly. If flags arise, an adjudicator reviews the items and context to decide whether to approve, place the case into administrative processing, or deny. This clarifies why consistency and context management matter. With that in mind, here is a practical plan. Audit all platforms. Back up your data before making changes. Archive or delete content that could be misread as hostile, non-professional, or inconsistent with your stated purpose. Align your narrative. Bios, roles, dates, and locations must match your application forms. Curate professional highlights. Sanitize interactions, including comments, likes, follows, and groups. Set all profiles to public prior to your application. Conduct a final consistency check against your DS-160, DS-2019, SEVIS entries, and your resume, or CV. Pause potentially controversial activity while your case is pending. Finally, maintain a private log of changes for your own records and, if needed, to explain updates. Beyond the basics, use this markdown checklist to ensure nothing is missed. Confirm that all profiles are public. Make sure your bio, dates, and locations match your application. Archive or delete risky posts. Pin professional highlights. Review comments, likes, follows, and groups. Finally, complete a thorough cross-check before submission. This list gives you a quick, repeatable verification step. Quick knowledge check. Which categories are explicitly targeted by the public social media review requirements? Option A is B2 tourists and B1 business visitors. Option B is H1B and H4 as well as F, M, and J applicants. Option C is O-1 extraordinary ability only. And option D is K1 fiancé visas only. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. The policy expansion explicitly calls out H-1B workers and H-4 dependents, F and M students, and J exchange visitors as needing public social media for review. Other categories may not be explicitly included in this expansion, though practices can evolve. To make this concrete, consider common traps. Sarcasm or satire can be interpreted literally by automated tools. Cultural or regional jokes lose context. Old political posts can raise credibility or intent questions. Location and date mismatches between posts and application forms create red flags. Aggressive replies or heated threads may imply hostility. Finally, ambiguous images can be misread by algorithms that are context-blind. Proactively addressing these reduces false positives. Another quick check. You find sarcastic political posts from years ago that could be misinterpreted. Option A is to keep them to show authenticity. Option B is to delete or archive them and document the changes. Option C is to make accounts private after applying. Option D is to rely solely on arguing context during the interview. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. It is advisable to archive or delete content that could be misread and keep a private log of what you changed. Relying on context being understood later is risky, and making accounts private after applying contradicts the requirement to keep them public for review. As we near the end, remember these core principles. Assume full visibility and treat every post as if it were part of your application file. Ensure consistency across bios, dates, and locations. Minimize ambiguity by archiving or removing content that can be misread. Curate professionalism through highlights of your work or studies. Finally, pause controversial content until a decision is issued. To wrap up, this policy expands public social media review particularly for H-1B and H-4, F&M, and J applicants. Automated scanning occurs first, and human review follows, which means context may be lost. A structured audit and consistency check help reduce false positives. Use the checklist and the timeline we provided to prepare methodically. If you are unsure, consult a qualified immigration attorney for tailored advice. Finally, thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments, especially what surprised you most about preparing your public social media for a visa application. Your feedback also helps shape future videos.